Howdy doody, everyone. Welcome back to the Hold the Line Sports channel. Today we got a good one. Last week we did predicting every single SEC game. That one was a doozy. It is tough to predict like 140 games in one video, but we're going to do it again. We're going to do every single Big Ten game today. So I got the same low predictor. I'm going to try to remember everything that I did for the SEC when they make schedules. But yes, I'm going to be doing every single Big Ten game this year. So let's get right into it. So week one's kind of pretty easy. Just about every game, as you know, that tune-up game, just get right, kind of, first game of the year. A lot of teams don't play someone like super big. Minnesota wins. Rutgers beats Ohio. Sneaky game there. Wisconsin beats Miami of Ohio. This one's a good one, though. Cincy, Nebraska. I think Nebraska gets done. I think Nebraska takes a small jump this year. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, this team could go 10-2, 9-3, something like that. I see like 8-4 on the cards. But I think they'll be better, more competitive in a lot of big games. And then I have Texas going in to beat Ohio State. I think they have less questions going into this year. Illinois, another sleeper team coming into this year. Maryland beats FAU. USC beats Missouri State. Iowa, we'll just quickly move through these. But Utah beats UCLA. I think Utah's actually going to be pretty sneaky this year out of the Big 12. I don't think they win it, but they're gonna beat UCLA week one. I don't think UCLA is also that good. Ball State and Purdue. Purdue's gonna win, but don't count Ball State out. Michigan State's gonna beat Western Michigan, and then Tulane is going to beat Northwestern. Upset of it. I don't know the lines of it, but this could be classified as an upset. Oregon wins week one. Washington wins week one. Sneaky team there. Indiana wins week one. Penn State wins week one. And then Michigan wins week one. Those all pretty easy games. The big ones, Texas or Ohio State. That one's going to be the game of the year. Week one is pretty fun. But then getting into week two, I think Oklahoma takes down Michigan. This going into Oklahoma is not an easy place to play. And then Michigan's probably going to have a starter who hasn't been that good all year or in his college career, or a freshman going into Oklahoma. We saw it last year when Nico went into Oklahoma and won, but that game, Oklahoma was not very good last year. The offense was not it. I think this year they're better, much better. So Oklahoma beats Michigan, Nebraska wins, Penn State wins. My alma mater, Kennesaw State, gets absolutely demolished by Indiana this this week. Minnesota wins, USC wins, Ohio State obviously beats Grambling. Michigan State beats Boston College. I think that will be a sneaky close game, but I do think Michigan State is a better team than Boston College after they lost Castellanos, all that kind of stuff. Northwestern beats Western Illinois. Rutgers beats Miami of Ohio. Sneaky game there too. Rutgers lost, my GOAT, Kyle Monson guy. He's with the Bears now. RIP him. Purdue wins. Wisconsin wins. Washington wins. And then Iowa State. Ignore these records as well. I did not make those Big 12 predictions. I think Iowa State is much better than a 6-5 team. They beat Iowa this year. And you still got a new quarterback there at Iowa, week two going into Iowa State. It's a tough matchup. It's a tough matchup for sure. I think UNLV is going to be solid. They beat UCLA, and UCLA is 0-2 to start the year against a group of four teams. That's pretty wild. Oregon beats Oklahoma State, and then Illinois beats Duke. Illinois is a solid team. Duke is solid too as well, but I think Illinois beats Duke. Maryland beats Northern Illinois. Alabama absolutely demolishes Wisconsin. Sorry guys, I don't think you're gonna be that good. That's week three though. Ohio State beats Ohio. Pretty easy. Nebraska beats Holy Cross. Illinois beats Western Michigan. And Iowa bounces back, beats UMass. It's not really it's bounce back, but they should win that. Oregon absolutely dismantles Northwestern, and then USC beats Purdue. I think USC is going to be much improved this year. I don't know if they're going to be like a Big Ten championship contender team, but like 6-6 like they were last year, or I think they were 6-6, but like borderline bowl team. I think they're much better than that. I think they're 8-4 this year, 8-4, 9-3, around that range. Schedule's tough, but they're a solid team. I don't think they're like a playoff contender, but they're a solid team. Rutgers beats Norfolk State, I hope. Michigan State beats Youngstown State, and then Penn State beats Villanova. FCS, a lot of FCS games in week 3 for the Big Ten, and they say the SEC schedules FCS, whatever. Kurt Signetti, he's still my goat, but lay off. And then UCLA finally gets their first win against the University of New Mexico. Finally breaks into the win column. Maryland beats Towson pretty easily. Michigan beats Central Michigan pretty easily. And then Cal and Minnesota. This is sneakily going to be a really good game, and I think Minnesota pulls it off. They start 3-0 this year, pretty good start. Oregon beats Oregon State pretty handily, and then Washington I think goes into Washington State and wins this year. Washington is a sneaky team. There's a lot of teams like you got your top 3 obviously in your Oregon, your Ohio State, and your Penn State, but there's a lot of teams I think that could go 7-5, 8-4, and be sneaky competitive with a lot of those big schools this year, like Washington. Illinois beats Indiana. Indiana finally has a tougher schedule this year, and I think Illinois is just going to be better. I do like Fernando Mendoza, but Luke Altmaier coming back is big for them. Iowa beats Rutgers, and then Wisconsin beats Maryland. Start 3-1, only losses to Alabama. I think Michigan does go into Nebraska and win, though. I don't know if Nebraska is going to be good enough to beat Michigan. I do like this Michigan squad. I hope Bryce Underwood plays, but I do think Michigan goes into Nebraska and wins this game. But I think USC beats Michigan State, and then Notre Dame probably is going to beat the brakes off of Purdue, just like a lot of teams are this year. Purdue's just not good. And then, let's see, get a phone call real quick. Rutgers versus Minnesota. I believe it's going to be Minnesota winning that game. And then I think Illinois beats USC for their first loss of the game. And then UCLA is going to beat Northwestern. Northwestern is probably one of them and Purdue are the 2 worst teams in the Big Ten. And then going back, Ohio State is going to go into Washington and win this as well. And then I think Indiana bounces back and beats Iowa. I don't think this Iowa team's that good. And then another big game this week, final game of week 5. I think Penn State finally gets a big win and beats Oregon. A lot of question marks there. Going into Happy Valley is not an easy place to play. So I do think Penn State finally gets their big win. And then they played a little closer with UCLA because they just had a big win last week, but they beat UCLA still. Michigan beats Wisconsin, and then Washington beats Maryland. Northwestern beats ULM. Ohio State pretty handily beats Minnesota, and then Nebraska beats Michigan State to move to 4-1 for them. So turning around kind of. Illinois beats Purdue 6-0 for them. Washington beats Rutgers, and then Michigan State beats UCLA. Now into week 7. Minnesota beats Purdue like a lot of Big Ten teams will, and then Ohio State hands Illinois their first loss. I think this Illinois team is good. Don't know if they can hang with big boys just yet. I need to see it to believe it. I think they will be able to maybe keep it a little close, but I think Ohio State's talent will just kind of overrun them towards the end of the game. Penn State beats Northwestern pretty handily. Nebraska beats Maryland. And in this game right here, I think USC beats Michigan. USC 5-1 on the year. USC team is going to be really good. They got a lot of new changes, a lot of big defensive changes, which was kind of their Achilles heel last year. I think Wisconsin is able to beat Iowa. This Iowa team is just not that good to me. And then Oregon beats Indiana. And I think Notre Dame beats USC, makes them 5-2 on the year. I think this Notre Dame team is going to be really good, and this game is going to be really close, a really good game like it was last year. Because USC on a bad year kind of gave them a little run for their money. The game was closer than the score indicated. And then Nebraska beats Minnesota. So kind of like almost halfway through the year here, and then after week 8, we'll check the standings going into week 9. I think Washington beats Michigan, um, and then Northwestern and Purdue, battle of the mids. Northwestern wins. Um, Penn State beats Iowa pretty handily, and I think Oregon beats Rutgers pretty handily, and Ohio State beats Wisconsin pretty handily. So all those teams are kind of leading the pack as well still. Um, and then I think Indiana beats Michigan State in Indiana. It's going to be a close game, but I think Indiana is able to do it. Um, and then I think Maryland is able to beat UCLA. So we'll go down to the standings now to check going into week 9. What are the standings for the Big Ten? Let's see. So right now, pretty simple. I mean, Penn State and Ohio State would be meeting in the championship right now, but we do know they play. So a lot of good teams here. 5-2, 6-1. A lot of good teams still in this. Minnesota 5-2, a little sneaky there. And then maybe a little disappointment from like Iowa or UCLA right there. But back into it, week 9. This game is going to be sneaky good, but I do think Illinois goes into Washington and wins. Michigan beats Michigan State, and then I think Minnesota still beats Iowa. Minnesota is going to be a sneaky good team this year, guys. Maybe not good enough to like. It's their schedule. The schedule is very workable for the first half of the year. I think that's what's going to happen. Then when they start playing the little harder teams, they're going to get a little exposed a little bit. Nebraska beats Northwestern, and Rutgers beats Purdue pretty easily. Indiana beats UCLA. Oregon beats Wisconsin. Indiana beats Maryland. Now until week 10. Michigan State is going to upset Minnesota, and Minnesota is going to be 6-3 now. And then big game of the year, Penn State going into Ohio State. I think Ohio State wins this game. It's going to be a tough game, and Penn State, I know you guys want this is the year they have to beat Ohio State. I don't think it's the year they do it, at least in this game. Maybe down the road in the championship, something like that. But I don't think. I think Ohio State's got them in their house. Michigan beats Purdue. Illinois beats Rutgers, and then this game is a big game right here as well. Week 10, USC goes into Nebraska and wins, upsets them, kind of puts them back on the back foot. Nebraska in the Big Ten championship race. And we got Penn State, Indiana coming into Penn State. Penn State's going to probably blow the brakes off of them. I think the Penn State team is good. Rutgers beats Maryland. Nebraska beats UCLA, bounces back. Northwestern and USC. USC beats the brakes off of them probably. Ohio State beats Purdue pretty handily probably. Oregon beats Iowa. And then final game, another solid game. Washington beats Wisconsin in this. Week 12 now. Ohio State beats UCLA. I think Indiana beats Wisconsin. Wisconsin have a pretty tough year, 4-6 at this point. They do have a tough out of conference and a tough conference schedule. Washington beats Purdue, and then Penn State beats Michigan State. Then you see now Minnesota travels to Oregon. Oregon beats them up. Now all of a sudden they were 6-2, and then now all of a sudden they're 6-4 because they face two tough opponents. And then Michigan goes into Northwestern. Illinois beats Maryland 9-1 on the year. Pretty solid, pretty solid. And then USC 8-2 now, beating Iowa now until week 13. Penn State beats Nebraska. I don't think Nebraska's there just yet on beating a top Big Ten team like those top 3 teams. And then going into this, Minnesota 7-4 now, pretty solid season from them. Washington beats UCLA. I do think Oregon beats USC, so 8-3, pretty solid squad. But I just think Oregon's able to beat them pretty well. And I think Ohio State beats Rutgers. No questions asked there. Michigan State beats Iowa. Iowa 3-8, pretty tough year for them. And then Michigan beats Maryland, and then Illinois beats Wisconsin. Okay, so going into the final week now. These are your standings. What happens here? This tiebreaker is kind of crazy. Illinois and Penn State don't play, so it'd be based on this. And here we go. Final week, Nebraska beats Iowa. Oregon beats Washington. And then Minnesota beats Wisconsin, finishes the year out strong. USC beats UCLA. Um, Penn State beats Rutgers. And then big game, the game. I think Ohio State beats Michigan, finally ends the streak. Illinois 11-1 beats Northwestern. Michigan State beats Maryland, and then Indiana beats Purdue. So these are the final standings right here. It have Ohio State and Oregon meeting in the championship. We'd have to see how these tiebreakers work. To be honest, we'll just have to see. But these are the final standings that I have. Washington and USC a little sneaky at 9-3. Michigan all the way down at 8-4, kind of what they were last year. I just think it's kind of growing pains with Bryce Underwood. I think the team will be solid, but I don't think they're in the like the Big Ten championship race. Nebraska 9-3. Indiana's still 9-3, still a solid squad. Kind of disappointments from Iowa and Wisconsin. 3-9 and 4-8 is pretty tough. But yeah. Let me know what you guys think I missed. Let me know if there's anything that you guys would change. Let me know who you guys think is going to win the Big Ten. I think it's personally. I think Ohio State is gonna win the Big Ten. They're just it's that offense is going to be crazy even with a new quarterback, and then the defense is still good. They probably have the best player in college football on both sides of the ball in Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs. So yeah, let me know what I missed, and peace out, y'all.